Okay. Hey everybody, welcome. My name's Steve Langford. I'm from Beaverton. I'm on the board for ACPE. Just wanted to say welcome to ACPE. How many of you is it your first conference? Is anyone in here? Fantastic. The weather is always like this.
Every year.
Yeah, every year.
In shorts.
It's incredible. We've had years of snow, and this is what we get for the next 2 days. So it's going to be a great conference. Just glad you guys are all here. Our largest conference yet. So that's really exciting. I'm just here to introduce Jeremy Thompson and Mike Shelton. They're going to be talking about IAM and access governance in K12 environments, and they're going to be talking about that with some districts that they're working with. And so with that, I'm going to get out of the way and hand it over to Jeremy.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, appreciate everybody's time. Just a quick raise of hands. How many customers of Tools4ever are here? Just want to get a view. Okay, great. So we'll talk a little bit about, as we go through this, contrast between what we're talking about and existing products. I'm going to go. Okay, so as you mentioned, we have some folks with us going to help us present. So we have Dave with Olympia is going to be covering some things. And then we have Scott and Stuart. Scott with Oregon Trail and Stuart from Clackamas ESD. And then Snohomish, I think I saw. Ron's back there. So we do have just some challenges and some specific scenarios that we're going to talk through with each district. And then we're going to be talking a lot about kind of IAM in general. Before we get there, the kind of the past, present, and future of Tools4ever, where we've been, where we're at, and where we're going. I think it's important to address that, especially with a lot of existing clients and with a lot of new products and a lot of new things coming down at Tools4ever. So, been around since '99, so we've obviously had an evolution of products. So we used to have network tools like Free Ping and Modern Magic, and there was quite a few other kind of just small like widget network tools really before my time at Tools4ever. Then we got into more bulk uploads and one-time kind of provisioning into AD, and then UMRA, where it is now with full lifecycle automations and flat files and extensive logic that you can build within that product. We've then gone into the present with even more advanced products, kind of meeting the needs in education, kind of plant a seed or we've been around since '99, based out of the Netherlands. Other offices really have a more primary focus in the private sector. So a lot of our products are enterprise grade. So we've evolved with the private sector, and really education is shortly to follow. So we have the identity management and access governance, really managing digital identities, not just basic provisioning, and really being able to facilitate more complex logic and more complex scenarios, and we'll get into that. And then we have a new single sign-on. We've been in the single sign-on space for I think like 6 years with a client-based product that didn't really fit in education. So we have a cloud-based single sign-on, and we got quite a few districts that are taking advantage of that. And then we're getting into more self-service, where we can allow the end user to drive provisioning processes or different things. We'll talk through more of that. Future, we're going more into an identity as a service, more into security and compliance. So really everything that everybody has, we're just building on it. That's kind of, it's funny, Mike just kind of said it that way, and I think it makes sense. So we have a really good understanding of kind of how things are working, and we're really just trying to propel it moving forward. So moving on. So what we're going to talk about today, some of the challenges that we're dealing with, adopting everyday problems. We're going to have a lot of delegation apps that we're going to talk through, provisioning processes, and then we'll get into the self-service and the reporting and dynamic resource management. So we'll talk more about these. I don't want to spend too much time on this. So with that, okay, I'll talk through this. So EDU challenges, again, we could have a whole session on just challenges, right? So, but kind of where we're sitting, a lot of the challenges that we come across are the access, providing access in a timely manner with security, and having visibility into what type of transactions or what type of processes are going on. The special cases, contractors, substitutes, how do we give them access not just into the network, but also potentially into access into applications? How do we facilitate that? And then, of course, the time it takes to manage all of this. We have so many other things coming down. We really need to maximize our time. The explosion of applications. If you think of 5 years ago, 8 years ago, how many apps were you needing to create students' accounts in, right? Then fast forward till now, fast forward it in 10 years from now. I think that's, maybe you go back 10 years. I mean, some districts are different places, but it's definitely been where we're at a big deal and a big challenge for a lot of districts. Reporting usage as far as what access, what applications are you know, what applications are students accessing, what are they doing, where are they accessing it from, those types of things. And then again, single sign-on, access anywhere, anytime, any device, and then being able to have secure passwords while doing that. One-to-one, whole nother conversation. Acceptable use policy, how can we digitize that? How can we drive security and get adoption and get people's buy-in without, you know, bogging us down? And then of course the migration to cloud. So again, we can talk a lot more about each piece. I just kind of wanted to lay this out so we can quickly get to the content. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Mike. A lot of you guys know Mike, but he was a director at a district locally for 10 years. He's been at Tools4ever for 10 years. So I like having him involved in things like this because I think he has some special insight in this. And most of you know him, so.
All right. Okay, so we're going to cover high-level identity access management. I don't want to go too much into detail. Some of you are probably pretty familiar. Do we have anyone that's fairly experienced with IAM at all? Just a general concept of it, or is everyone kind of at a neutral level? Yeah? Okay. All right, so identity access management. The primary driver behind this is security. And we all know in education, that's a problem. Security does not come first. It's all about getting the job done, right? We don't have enough time to get all this stuff provisioned and out there to the schools. On a daily basis, we have new problems. We have new applications, or applications are leaving, coming and going. New people are coming in. People are actually working before they're actually, their assignment actually starts, stuff like that. So identity access management is going to cover that. So let's consider identity access management your IT umbrella, because when it rains, it pours, right? You don't want to get stuck out in the rain with no umbrella, because it's just going to flood and you're just going to be drenched and no one has time to deal with all that. So let's help you out. Let's take some of these pieces out of the mix and give you time to do the real important things that matter, like security. So identity access management is really the AAA: authentication, authorization, access control, or auditing if you want. Who, what, and how. Okay. Access governance is a whole nother piece of this. We're talking about empowering users, giving them the ability to do what they need to do without your help. Okay. And that can be done in several different ways. We can use the information we already know from the HR system, the SAS, or just some other third-party system, or it's manually entered. That's all available within IAM, so we're going to use it. It's also about creating business roles for security, provisioning, and segregation of duties. What I mean by segregation of duties is you don't want the payroll person to be able to write checks as well, right? Otherwise, they're just going to pay themselves $100 million. The last piece of it is reducing risk and unnecessary access. So what you'll see through a district is people move up through the district, right? They start out maybe as a teacher, move up to assistant principal, move up to a principal, then move up to a superintendent level, somewhere like that. Most of the time, that's not dealt with. It's just left as is, roles are added on, their access is just exploded. So you have access to everything. That's when you start getting into data leaks. A few of these districts I know have had some issues, and it's not particularly their fault, it's usually the users, right? So by helping the situation, let's restrict down what they have access to. So let's look at the full picture of this. So on the left side, we have our source systems. We have our HR system, we have our SIS. We're going to pull any of that information we have available. Maybe there's other systems as well that you enter data into. Maybe you have a data warehouse. Let's pull that information in. Maybe you have a manual form. Let's find a way to digitize that. Pull that all into what we call the core identity. Now, what I mean by core identity is we're going to use one record to associate a single person. Now, that one record can also have multiple assignments underneath it. Take, for instance, we have an employee. That employee is also a parent, so they have students in the district. And then maybe they're a classified staff for some reason. Maybe they work as a custodian too, right? Some people do multiple roles beyond the norm. So we're going to keep track of all that. We're going to keep that all done under one person. So John Smith we're going to have each record for that and know all his assignments, all his kids' course enrollments, all his employments, and so on. We're also going to have start and end dates for all that because the HR enters that information, right? Most of the time? Majority of the time they do. So if they don't, we can work around that a little bit too. We can create some fake the funk a little bit on that. Now, going to the next level, how does that get provisioned to an account? Or how do they get security or access rights to something? Well, there's 3 different methods to do that. We got self-service, we got automation, and delegation. All current customers right now, you're doing automation probably, right? All the others, you're probably doing some sort of other platform or scripting to get that done. It's very finite. It's just focused on the primary assignment, if there is one, and giving them those roles, right? We're going to look at the whole picture in this case. Now, for those items that are not entered in the HR system or SIS, information is not available, how do we handle those? Well, there's 2 different ways. A, we can do self-service. We can provide the user a way to request information, and that can be automatic approval, or it can be done via an owner or a manager, right? And if your HR system has, managers associated to it, or have some sort of organizational chart, we can pull that in as well. The third one is delegation. What I mean by delegation is we'll look at your help desk, your IT staff. Most of them probably have domain admin, right? Yeah, kind of 50-50. All right, so let's take that away. These people shouldn't have the keys to the castle. We need to restrict them down to specific rights. And that's easier said than done, right? Because right now, they do everything. So you need to really do some role mining for that. That takes time. Just keep that in the back of your head. So let's start rolling this out in phases. Say the help desk, they need to be able to manage group memberships. Let's provide them that access form. Done. Maybe they need to reset passwords. Okay, there's another form. Done. All via one dashboard. So just some options to think about. This all takes time. It isn't going to happen overnight, and we realize that. But we want you guys to have better security with the proper tools. The last thing, or two more things I'll say with this is that with our connectors, we're building connectors on a daily basis. We're trying to standardize the format of all this, so it isn't just exports. We want to find anything that has an API or some sort of spec that we can follow and stick to that. That way it's versioned and it's easy to handle, and it will be future-proof. So that's why we've joined the IMS Global. We are a contributing partner to that, okay? And we'll continue to be as years come. So Jeremy, do you want to add to that? You got anything to add to that?
Let me jump in on this real quick. So the one thing I just want to mention is, so the concept of UMRA for those UMRA customers is, either a cache of the source, a cache of AD, pull them into a SQL instance, full outer join, provision the deltas, okay, at a 100,000 foot level. The idea with IAM, which is the product we're talking about today, is more bring it into this vault, which is, again, stored on-premise, as he talked about, the repository of the aggregation of all the different user data across all the systems. And then the idea of having more granular control. So all the standard provisioning processes, all of the baseline entitlements, those types of things are all still out the box, not a problem. We're just kind of adding layers of provisioning processes or delegation, other ways to provide entitlements to users. So that's one thing I want to mention. For existing UMRA customers, I'm just throwing this out there just because if you're probably thinking about it. This is a completely separate product. It's not UMRA 2.0. It's on a whole new platform, a whole new product. The licensing is a wash. If you wanted to say, Jeremy, I want IAM, I own UMRA, great. The licensing is a wash. I don't know if other companies do that, but we really fought hard for this, and we wanted to provide that to you guys. The professional services for the implementation to roll over, that is something we would have to talk through. We can do implementations in a lot less time because of the efficiencies of this product, but I just wanted to put that out there that UMRA will be around and supported for a long time. This product is really just offering more granular controls on the access governance. Instead of having more of a scripted background and a scripting interface, Mike will show it here shortly, we'll have more of a wizard-driven and just a UI that business can drive. You don't have to have a scripting background to be able to facilitate that. So I just wanted to address that. So, and then the IMS Global, is everybody familiar with One Roster or the LTI? Not so much? It's coming. It's like standardizing format that vendors can agree upon to make integrations easier. It's a really exciting, it's like, there's other kind of initiatives out there, and this one is free to everybody. It's just vendors saying, here's what it looks like. Okay, great, and we can integrate easier. So everybody wins in there. So, all right, next one. I thought this one was funny, so I think I just wanted to put it up. So, security is more important than usability, right? Like that's in a perfect world, no one would be able to use anything.
Computers would continue to work if people would just not use them.
That's right. That's right. User error plagues my life. So to complete the login process or procedure, stare directly at the sun. I think we all get this. I think the idea of being able to provide the security, but also not decreasing usability. So I think the next one's you, right?
All right, so we're going to dive into this. We're going to start going to the solutions. I just want to set up kind of the scenario, what this looks like at the moment. This isn't the full picture, but this gives you a general gist of it. This is the web portal. There's a few apps on here. We have more available, but this is currently what I have shown here. So really, it's just kind of showing the delegation apps and abilities to manage identities. So let's dive into that. So first thing we'll talk about is Olympia School District. I'm going to set this up for him, and he'll talk a little bit more. They have a problem with dealing with outside accounts that don't fall within the HR system. So, and I'm sure all of you have this problem at some point. So, Dave, can you elaborate a little bit on some of the issues that you have?
Oh yes, we have all the problems. Yes. So as you know, everyone fits into the same convenient mold, and so we don't need this. No. No, we have everyone who is salaried, but then we have coaches who have oddball situations, we have substitutes, we have long-term subs who we want to have different permissions than regular subs. We have such a variety of people, and they all come from different places, aside from having HVAC contractors that need to have access for 3.5 weeks to a specific subset of things. All of these variety of things take place and all get, in the past, have gotten shoved into a single AD user group because we're well organized, and as a result, it's hard to know when people should come out of that because there's no obvious end date. The only automation we have is adding people, and so it's like, oh hey, how many employees do we have? Was that 1,200 or 3,000? Maybe we need to disable 1,500 accounts this week. And get caught up and organize these things. So that's one of the big pieces that we have.
Okay, so what we're doing for Olympia, and this is actually a couple others we're doing this for as well, but Olympia was the shining star on this one. So I'm just showing you a couple fields of what we're going to fill in. So I have names, right? This is typically what I know. I know first, last, and generally that's about it. We need to gather a little bit more information into that because we need to know who they are, where are they coming from, how long are they going to be in here. Maybe we just have a general period. Maybe we know they're going to be here for roughly about 6 months. Fair enough. That's fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this. We're going to, in the portal, we're going to use a new person identity app and enter that in an identity. And what we're providing is first, last, just a general demographics. And then we're also going to fill in an employment. And what I mean by that is in IAM, we're storing a specific employment with start and end date and possibly a location and a title. Could be at the district level, could be at middle school, elementary, we don't really care. All that information is available because we have it from the HRMS, or we can manually enter it, new locations if we want. Okay, so once that identity is created, we know generally where they're going to be, where we need to place them, what kind of security they need to have. So then we're going to have a trigger, kick off, and create that account. When their employment ends, that end date will kick off and know to disable that account. So what we'll solve for them is they have a yearly projector maintenance or something like that. Yeah, some support for projector maintenance. So they have an account, and so what they can do on theirs is they can have that yearly contract put in as an employment. Granted, there's some manual effort, right? But where else are we going to get that information? So whoever's dealing with in IT, that contract information just plops in here, enters that information real quick, and that account is managed. We'll know that it gets disabled properly. If the contract doesn't get renewed, the account's automatically disabled. That's what we want. It's really accountability for that account and making sure it's taken care of. We don't want to leave those 1,500 accounts just laying around. Any questions about it?
Would this app be typically delegated to HR or help desk?
Right. So to elaborate on that, so this app, each one of these apps can actually be delegated out to a user or a subset of users. So it could be an AD group or manually associated within the IAM product. So we'll say maybe the HR system has someone come in, maybe it's a substitute or whoever managed your subs. They can fill that in on their own, and they don't have to touch, say create an AD account. We'll just know based on the information they're putting in to automatically trigger that information or trigger that account creation and the proper permissions. Okay. Any other questions on that? Okay. Next problem, visibility. So this is where I'm talking about. We have an employee that is also a parent. We have a line right here of identity information and then collapsed information below. So in this case, I'm going to take Erin from Snohomish, took her information. I'm going to show you her identity information. I blocked out the critical information at the moment, but there we go. So she's a technician in technology. So this is how I know where she needs to go. What that information below has is that title, that positional information, start and end dates, and organizational information. This is all pulled from Skyward. Okay, we're just pulling all that information, whether it's old, new, whatever. It's all available. Yeah.
Can I add parent groups to this?
Good question. Yes. How do we add parent groups, or?
Can I add printer?
Oh, printer. Sorry, I thought I said parent. What do you mean by printer groups exactly? Like, so the user gets a printer access via a group, AD group. Yeah. So we'll do that in access governance. We'll talk about that, how we can associate that. But potentially we could have a baseline entitlement, say on account creation, all staff get this printer. Or based on location.
And then on
right.
the right, where it says access governance,
right.
you had that allocated there.
This is actually right now, she has no, this only lists the requestable ones. We do have the option to flip that to show all current and roles in the access governance. Right now it's set to only show requestable ones that are assigned.
And all of this data is all configurable, so you can have this app in multiple places. What they see is configurable, all of like that whole first dashboard, certain user types can have
right.
different access points. Very, very configurable on your end. So you have access to configure, so you don't have to call us.
Yeah, so maybe there's specific HR data that you want to be visible in here, and this app can be restricted down in a couple different ways. By certain users can see certain people, either as via managers or via a subset of permissions. Or we can say your help desk can see all persons in the district, and so they can help them as needed. What this does provide is it gives them that general information to validate that person if they need to. It also shows their course information, so if you need to associate an LMS and look up, or if you're looking at an LMS and you're trying to figure out why courses aren't showing up, you can also look here and check to double check that essentially. And the last piece, at the very bottom, you'll see that it has an Active Directory account. And if we had other accounts like Google, Office 365, mailboxes, information, that would all be subset below. I just kind of tried to fit as much as I could in here.
On-prem, cloud-based?
This product can actually run in either one. We don't provide any cloud services for it currently, but that's part of the future. Right now, it runs on-prem. Okay. But yeah, you can run it on a virtual server. That's what Iran and Olympia and Oregon Trail's doing.
You don't want us touching AD.
Well, you can still. So yeah, so the general thing is that this is what happens. So there's two ways you can change things, right? You can go directly to AD. That's what you do now, right? I need to fix this. Done and done. Boof. Well, when we import the AD information again, we're going to see that change. It's going to be marked as an unmanaged change. We don't know who changed it, but we do see that change. That's all going to be done in the audit log that's further down. But yes, so everything that gets imported into IAM or is changed in IAM is transactional. That's down to the attribute level. So you change one attribute, we're going to have that available.
We just had a surprise issue with a user where their account was getting disabled in Google Apps, which syncs from AD, which comes from this location. And we know that it didn't sync because it no longer had an email attribute in AD, but we don't know who removed the email attribute in ATD or how that happened, because we didn't have an existing audit log.
Yep. And there's also a reporting mechanism. We'll cover a little bit of that, just a very high level of it. We're trying to present a lot of the problems that you're having in solutions, right?
This does everything that
Everything plus more.
plus.
Yes.
Yeah, it looks
Yeah.
like, yeah, a lot more, but
So,
everything that the other one.
This is more of a, like Jeremy said, wizard-driven way of managing it. Urmare is a scripting platform. That's why we don't want to get rid of it, because you guys love it for the most part and use it all the time in different ways that we don't even realize you do. But it's fun to watch. So they're both viable solutions. So this is more of giving a full picture, and that's why we're doing those transactional logs, because we want to do additional reporting, have that compliance reporting that you need for auditors coming in or anything like that. Okay. We'll continue on at the moment. Actually, one more thing I'll cover in here is that Google Apps, you're saying you're using GAD still. That's perfectly fine. So if you want to use IAM to do AD account management, but continue to use GADs because it's free, completely okay. We can still tie Google Apps to this and have the transactional information come in and just not provision anything with it. Okay. All right, another issue for Snohomish, and Ron, I'll just go ahead and feel free to speak if you want. The problem is that onboarding new users. Well, the biggest problem we see all the time is getting that password to the user without being a static password like password123 or staff your employee number, something like that, right? We want to tidy that up a little bit. So what we do is with our SSRPM products, self-service password reset, is we can do an onboarding process. We can set an ID that they go and claim their account. Whether that's their employee ID or some random character or something like that, doesn't really matter to us. We can set it wherever we want. And in Ron's case, what we're doing is we're using their personal email that's getting inputted in the HR system and sending that email out to them. And right now it's set to ID, but we'll discuss that and figure out what we're going to do with that. But they can come to this website, claim their identity. What the next step so it's going to do also is that if you have an AUP, we can present that to them just so it's visual.
They have to click OK.
They have to click
That's
OK.
odd.
All right. It's a very important piece. And the next piece that after that is they enroll the SSRPM, so they have their security questions. If they ever forget their password, they can go back and reset it themselves. Hopefully they remember their answers, but they can do that as well. So until they fill out all those steps, they won't get their user account information. But it will also prompt them to set their password too. So it lets you set, you don't even have to, you can set a completely random password initially, let them come to the site and set their own with the password complexity requirements that you define in your environment.
Can you give them additional content?
Currently no, but that's a good thing. Maybe we add to the AUP screen and show that, right? So can you give me an example of what you'll be looking for?
So like, welcome to the Tuckahoe School District. If you have questions concerning whatever, these are the places.
So what we're doing right now with Iran is that we're actually, when we email out, we provide them that information, and then when we finish, we'll send another email saying all your resources are here.
And
Now,
then,
whether what's beneficial, email or display on the screen, that's up to you guys. So.
But email, you can do it through the email.
Yeah, we can do on trigger. So when we onboard the user, email's kicked off.
Customize that message.
Yeah, it's completely template driven. So you can go to the web interface and change it. And Erin's been able to, I need to show Erin how to do that, but she can do that right now.
And this is web-based, so I don't have to access it.
Right, so this is web-based. So this runs on IIS, so it can run in your platform. It also can run on Azure platform if you really want. It's really up to you. We have our corporate customers that have run it on Azure platform. That's not a problem. Obviously, you want to put a cert behind it, so make sure you have some certs available. Any more questions about that? Okay, thought you guys liked that one. So back on Snohomish again. You guys are the highlight on this one. What's that?
Is there an app?
SSRPM app? Yes, actually there is an app. All it is a web browser, but yeah, it's an app.
Is there an IAM app? Or
Currently no, but
is
that's
all
something.
pretty mobile friendly?
It's some of the pieces are mobile friendly, but we'll be enhancing that. Right now, we're trying to focus on the general browser, then we'll opening it up to probably limited access via the mobile, probably over
SSRPM is very
VPN.
mobile friendly, and the
Right.
SSO is, there's apps and
Yeah, the SSO portion is all cloud-based, but yeah, this is all dependent on your environment. You can open it up, and this actually works well on the mobile. You can also do the app, which is its own dedicated browser, essentially. So, managing entitlements. So this really focuses on the help desk again. So this is talking about memberships. In this case, we'll look at their AD domain, their point of sale users. Specifically users, we can filter down by groups and computers as well if we wanted to. But this will give them an interface to be able to manage that specific group and the memberships for it rather. So for instance, if district athletics didn't need to be in here in the POS users, they can come in here and remove it out. Or if they get a call like, hey, I don't have access to this and it's not on the self-service, can you help me out? Oh yeah, click, click. They don't have to go to ADUC or some other web interface to do this. They can do it all through the portal itself. Once again, this can all be delegated through directly to a user or a group of users.
Does this have any group policy integration?
Can you elaborate a little bit? Well, like access, like policies associated for.
From a creation standpoint, like let's say I want to create a policy that affects a group that's pre-existing, or I want to create a group. Does this have the ability to, from a creation standpoint, say I want to create a entitlement group, and I'll create it in AD?
Yes, in the next screen.
Okay.
This actually will add the groups. There's two separate apps. One is memberships, and one which is could be AD groups. It could be some other entitlement, the security access to maybe door access, if you will. I know South Kitsap's using UMRA for door access, so there's no reason why IAM couldn't do that. But this app itself will do the groups. So this could be the actual resource, and then the other app would be to associate people to that resource, right? So whether the resource is an AD group, a Google group, or a role and access governance, a manually controlled role, you can do that here too.
If I have a policy that I want to apply to a particular group.
Like a group policy associate. If it can be done in C# or PowerShell, then yes.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Through this.
Yeah, we can execute any sort of script that you want. So if you have a PowerShell script that you already created and you want to execute it, sure, yes. Same with access governance. On association, it can send that information that you want to that script and then execute it. You lose a little bit of error logging at that point because you don't know what's going on unless it's the script's handling all that, but it does do that. But I'll look into the group policy thing directly and see if we can add that as an entitlement option. There's no reason why it couldn't be. Next, Oregon Trail. We talked about this recently, just the other day actually. Teachers, right? So can you elaborate on your problem with students' passwords and teachers' access and everything?
There's nothing that teachers love like kids pretending they can't get to their account because they forgot their password. And so right now they forgot their password. You know, it's Tuesday, it's Sunday, I don't want to do my homework. I'm locked out. And so we found, oh, there's Marie, good. My systems admin's here, she's hiding in the back. And so we were working, so first things first. Last year this time, I was not a Tools4ever customer. We started, I think about right now, working towards UMRA, rolled that out this summer, and then in the winter we heard about IAM and said, hey, here's this thing. I said, oh my gosh, that could be pretty cool. And so we're just now finishing our rollout of IAM. So a lot of the stuff that actually I need to stop because I keep looking at the people I work with here and think, oh, we could do that too now. I need to stop because this morning I emailed, hey, we need to add 2 more fields to this for bus routes because I think I see a problem in like 8 months that we may be able to solve right now. So I just need to slow down. But
Make a list.
oh,
Just make a list.
I've been texting, but my texts aren't going through, so they'll be coming through in a little bit, you guys. I'm sitting here texting about stuff. Oh, we can do this too, NutriKids in Alexandria. Anyway, I'll stop, I promise. So yeah, so it's a way that we're going to turn over to the teachers the ability to call the kids on that and hold the kids accountable. Hey, you know what? Great, I'll go in here and I'll fix it for you right now. We don't even need to call the help desk because the teachers can call the help desk and say, I have a student here who needs some help on a password reset. Hand the phone to the kid and then we work with them there. They can skip that step. And so now the kids will know that the teachers will have access into resetting their password for them and doing some of the account basic maintenance right there live in the classroom. And so kind of turning that power back over to the teachers to kind of keep them, because really it's about classroom management, keeping the teachers in control of that. It's just one more tool we can give to our staff. So
That's great. So yeah, that exact problem is what drove us to add this to the IAM product, specifically for our office because we deal with education the most. So we've done this in a couple of districts already, and we're seeing lots of positive feedback on it. The main thing is increasing instructional time, right? Without having to spend the next 10 minutes calling the help desk. Got to look up this user, reset their password, and then convey the password to the student. Student goes back to the computer, fills in the password. Let's just eliminate all that. Let's minimize it. So what we've done is using those, of course, enrollments that we already have available, we can then have the teacher come to this page, this app, and see all their courses, whether that's current, future, or current and future. They can search within it. What they do is they select the course, and then they'll see their students. Essentially, just going to the SIS, right, and doing attendance. They're going to click the class, click the student, and depending on the policies for your organization, either they enter a password or it's a predefined password of your choosing. And that predefined password policy can be done via the access governance roles. So I'll show you how we generate all those roles, but if we have a role for like grade level 1, grade level 2, grade level 3, we can do different password policies specifically for this app. So maybe grade 1, they have a static password. Grade 2, they get a simplified password, maybe it's their ID. And grade 3, they have to just enter a new password. All those options are available.
And again, that's wizard driven.
Right.
You have control of. So you can give the secretaries the
Right.
same app. Obviously, courses wouldn't play no effect.
But we can make that adjustment.
Reset passwords, or if you wanted site text, or really, there's lots of other options and configurations that you can do with this. Pretty exciting.
Yeah, lots of possibilities there. And this, to reiterate, it's all logged. Teacher reset the password to the student. We know they reset it. Worried about them accessing the documents? Well, it's logged, so you know that they reset it, and that's probably how they got access to that student's account, unless it's some generic password, right? All right, Olympia, here we go again. So this one is self-service, and so we're talking about providing access. So you want to?
Yeah. So we have a handful of things that we don't give everyone, but if they ask for it, they're allowed to do it. So one of those things is VPN access. Staff members who want VPN access because they say, I need this to access the things that aren't available in the cloud, are allowed to do that. So when they do that, they call up and we say, oh, okay, let's add you to the Active Directory group. And a similar process happens if staff needs Skype access due to how horrible Skype is. In terms of firewall usage, we don't just want to give every teacher access to that, but if they're going to use it for some purpose and they say, hey, we want it, we let them have it. So this is a way to let people opt into those groups so it's not a step that the help desk needs to take, but is easily available and we can just get out of the process entirely.
Right. So to elaborate more on this, I have a few examples up here. Maybe it's a file share. We can set permissions for that or add them to a specific group that has permissions. In Dave's case, we're going to add the user to a specific group so they have VPN access. Now that could be expanded even further. Maybe we need to do Office 365 licensing. They need to have that link license or that link option. Well, this can technically do that too. That can all be done through this is all driven through the access governance. What it is as we build the access governance, we can say this specific role is requestable, and that's where this comes in play. Okay, and additional actions on top of that could be sending emails, executing PowerShell scripts, creating directories, creating home directories, all that. Google groups too. Essentially, if we have a target system and available to do it, Umar already does group memberships for Google. IAM can do it too.
So you've got some that are pending, some that are
Right.
approved. So the user comes to this portal, they click on the thing that they would want, get access, then does everyone have it?
Good question. So you have different states, right? You have on requested, you have it's been approved, it's been it's been assigned, it's been removed, stuff like that. So all those states are available. So in these cases, maybe Olympia's case, there's no approval process, so we say this specific requestable. As soon as they click request, it's completed and done. We don't even care. Then it's marked as approved, essentially, or completed. You can also associate a manager or an owner or a group of managers and owners and let them approve the process before it actually gets assigned. They can also decline it. And
So
then
they get an email or something.
Right.
As they click it.
Right, yep, so the manager or the owner would get an email saying, hey, you gotta approve this, and they can click from email and approve it, or they can go to the portal and approve it there, so they have that. Additionally, an owner and a manager can also request for someone, so if they get a phone call, hey, I don't know how to use the self-service portal, I need to access this. Okay, let me just request it for you real quick. I'll look up your user, request it, boom, done. Okay. Any questions about that?
Can you deny? Like
Yes, you can deny.
retro?
Yeah, you can deny and not allow them to request again, or you can allow them to keep requesting it.
Yeah.
So preferably, probably better to let them request again. That way, if they essentially do need
They
access to them,
already have it. Can the manager go in there and
remove it. Yes, they can revoke it at any point too. So emergency termination or something like that. Yeah.
How's the routing set up for the request and approval process? Is that based on like a SharePoint sort of thing? Or?
No, it's all built into the product itself. So there's two ways we can do it. We can do an owner on a resource, so direct assignment or for a group or a person, or it can be done via the manager that's associated to that user. So we have that manager information coming in for a department. Maybe Mark is assigned to all his IT staff as a manager. He can be the only one to approve because he likes to throw the hammer down.
Thanks, Mike.
I wouldn't know. Anyway, so that's all available. So yeah, the routing can be done in various ways. So
You find that when you're setting up. Whatever.
right, right, and same happens for the actions themselves. You select a state you want. So on request, send an email to their manager, but go ahead and auto approve it. We can do that too. So. All right. So Snohomish of the three, they're the only ones that have Hello ID. And they're really starting to ramp up on that. They're going through their departments. And Ron, did you have any comments added to that, or?
This is really low-hanging fruit as far as our customers and staff. Negotiations start this year, so they like it. And what's really good is through security groups, you can administer it so that only members of a security group will even see one of these tiles. So our technology department has about 4 tiles, nobody else can see them. Also, you can present them with the whole library, and they can pick what they want for favorites. If they exit from favorites, that's what will open again. You guys need to make that a little more deliberate, by the way.
I agree. We have something coming.
Most of this started because our curriculum department was fighting with each other about what icons are going to go on a desktop. But it's going to be nice, and the best part is, one, there's a plug-in for Chrome, which is really sweet, and two, there's also an app for it, which is nice.
Okay. So, like Ron was saying, you really can drive these applications by either local groups within the SSO or AD. That's all available. We can synchronize all users, all groups into it with our little agent. And that will be expanded later on to other items like Google Apps too. Yep, go ahead.
Is this just like a web portal that they can use to just have
Yep.
access to
So,
apps that are already on the
so this product, the single sign-on piece of it is cloud-based. It's completely cloud-based. It's going to be on-prem in the next month, so you can do either one. You have an option to run it in your environment only, pushing it out in the DMZ, or just running it in the cloud. Really up to you.
When they click add printer, what happens?
That is specific to Iran. So, what is the ad printer application that you have?
Well, actually, there was a good question up here before. We want to be able to direct the teacher or the student to the print server at their school, so they can choose the printer they're going to print from. Right now, we've been doing it like that for a number of years. This would be an easier way. That's all. All it does is take them to
So this is all their applications, so I wanted to show their example because they had quite a few. But if you had, like we talked about before, is if you have an AD group that had printer associated for access, you could use the self-service to do that. That would work, or the access governance model. All right, so additionally, to talk a little bit more on this, is access can be done in a couple different ways. It can be done for visibility's sake, or for actually accessing the application, or you can use both, right? So maybe you want the icon to be visible, but they have to be in a certain group to be able to use it, or they can only use it between 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. for some reason in Netherlands. all those pieces are available. Additionally, you can do multi-factor authentication too, per application or on login or both. Okay.
Is this part of the application access? Is this part of the IAM?
We call this, it's our whole platform that is, you can have module pieces. You want to elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, no, this would be a separate, so Hello ID is a separate licensing in
Right.
itself. Yeah, not a wash with the array. We do have, I think, 18 full-time developers on this product.
Right.
Very, very exciting. We're moving it along very quickly. So just any feedback on stuff. Mike takes it directly.
Name pretty much sucks.
We like to joke around and call it Hello Kitty, but
We had somebody call it Hello.
that's what we call it. That's funny. Anyway, so yeah, it's a it's not uncommon for us to sell it as a whole platform, right? So that's can be done, or it can be bought individually. And with it being on-premise soon, that opens it up even more. So a lot of options. Yeah.
So like we have an instance where we block Minecraft from everybody. Would that be something that this could do? Like block Minecraft from being ran except between like 2 and 4?
If it's an available application, technically. So one of the options we have is that we can force an application to go through a proxy. The problem is the application has to support that.
Gotcha.
So if that's available, then yes. This is going to be focused on web-based applications only. We do have, our client-based SSO is really focused on native applications on the Windows, but yeah. This was the big thing that everyone was asking for, so that's why we did it.
But they log into Minecraft, though, right?
Yeah, if they log into it, you can.
We just have them push through here and they never know their password? They don't
Right, that's true. If you control the credentials, then yeah, you can definitely force them through here, especially if it supports SAML or some other authentication mechanism. So. All right, so moving on. So continuing with the SSO in mind, let's talk about application reporting. We got that explosion of applications again. How do we, watch those applications, know that they're being used, look at the licensing on those and stuff like that. So looking at the dashboard, I've kind of trimmed it down here, is that we got the logins per day. We can see how many logins are happening in the SSO. We could also see the popular applications. So in Ron's case, we have Skyward is the most popular application that he has. Yeah, exactly. They probably use it constantly. So additionally, there's some other ones listed there. We could dig into that even further and say, okay, who's using it? Or what group of people are using it? Or when are they using it? What time of day are they using it the most? That's important information to know, right? Not only for the sake of is the application being used, but maybe for your network's sake. We have a high bandwidth usage during 9 p.m. and 10 p.m. What application is being used the most? Skyward. Oh, well, that makes sense. So there you go.
Where does it pull this data from?
This data is all built in the SSO platform. So it's as you're clicking on an application and it's pulling the credentials or passing the credentials, it's all being logged.
Oh, you say clicking the application, is that from the data we just looked at?
Yes, from
Okay,
back
so that's
from
this
here.
part.
Yes,
So
correct.
This is a part of the new product, not the
Yeah, this is
Okay.
yeah.
So
We
reporting.
classify the whole platform because it's still access management, right?
Okay.
So. So yeah, you would have to go to that dashboard. Certain applications, if they support the proxy method, you can definitely focus them to only go through that method. They have to go through the portal. Essentially, on the application side, it says only allow access from this proxy, and then Hello ID will essentially proxy the user through to that.
Can this also track or put things on the portal for local applications?
Like desktop applications? No, because the browser does not allow you to launch native applications like that without a security issue, right? unless you do some special extension to do it. And there's ways. Is it ideal? But
Is that anything on the horizon of interest?
it has been brought up several times, and
From a
we're not.
standpoint, you know, it's awesome to see. Like, all right, so we're gonna renew that $30,000 license because everyone uses that, right?
So let's do let's do this. Give me an example of an application. Huh? Adobe. Adobe. Perfect. So that probably has to reach out through to get check the licensing every time it opens, right? I'm guessing. Or is it every once in a while, or is it local?
So the way that they have it set up right now, it depends on how you set up. There are a couple different ways, but there's a little key thing that
Interesting concept. I have an idea in my head how that could work.
I think it's kind of broken.
Because you can do, the other thing I'll note is on this, they don't have to be an application that requires credentials. It could be a shortcut too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So if we can somehow make the licensing URL be a shortcut URL,
Yeah.
that would work.
Like from a reporting standpoint.
Yeah,
Not so
no.
much authentication, but more for reporting.
Okay.
It's like, well, are they using that more than they're using this?
Yeah, I have that one, the topic of it, offline applications or native applications as a note. So I'll add that to that and talk to the team about that. Additionally, it gives you some other status as well, but there's additional more reporting that you can pull from this. Really, the biggest piece is application usage and keeping controls and knowing that applications are being used. We have, these 5 applications that are sitting around. They've been around for the last 2 years. We think people are using them. Are they actually using them? No. Why are we paying for them? Save money, right? All right. So this is where we get a little bit more complex. This is access governance. So let me explain this a little bit. So access governance, we're going to model out, create a diagram, if you will, on our business roles. So we have 2 diagrams here. We have students and employees. I'll try to make this fairly quick. So the gray circle, is the root level. That's where the diagram starts. And like I said, there's 2. So what we're looking at here is we have students and employees. We got all students role. We got sub-diagrams here that go into grades, schools, and classes. And then we have a dynamic role. The dynamic role, what that's using is that data that we have available in the core identity, we can use to create dynamic entitlements like AD groups. So maybe we know all these school associations. We know that little Johnny is at the middle school and the high school because he's taking an advanced math class. So this association here will know, based on that name, we're going to create Lincoln High School and Jefferson Middle School and associate that user to it. If the group already exists, it's just going to add them to it. But if it didn't exist, it can create it. Same could go with other entitlements too. Right now, it's only focused on AD groups. We'll expand that. Employees, you have types, departments, and everything. Sub-diagrams, so these blue ones are. Okay. Really, all students and all employees are really buckets for, I know that all my employees or all my students are going to get these entitlements. They all get web access, or maybe they don't have an AUP. They don't get web access, something like that. So, more diagrams. And this is I kind of blew Oregon Trail's mind the other day with some of this, but on the left, yeah, in a good way. So they gave me a pretty good example to go with. So on the left side, the left diagram, we have yearbook, computer apps, and digital arts and photo. They said, well, we want to have another group. We have another class coming in next year, CAD classes. Maybe we can do licensing through groups. Well, we can do that. So I just started building the diagram, added a CAD group, added a filter, said anything that has a course name of CAD in it, boom, done. It's that easy. So you'll be able to build these diagrams on your own. You don't have to rely on us, but you can. If you want assistance with it, we're available anytime. This stuff's piece of cake.
It's the little things that cause the huge headaches over time. Why doesn't Johnny have access to this class yet? He's been there for 2 days, but we didn't know he was in the class because that goes away. Why does Johnny still have access to that class? He went there and broke some stuff. He should have had access. Why did you take it away? It happens automatically because the our student information system. And we actually run about 2 or 3 times a day. And so a couple hours after the course has been changed, they have their new access or they have their access taken away. It just does it. And yeah, it was amazing. I think someone said we had like 73,000, or was it 43,000 different fields of information. to
Right,
filter
something like
down
that.
from.
It's probably Lawrence,
Because we
yeah.
lifted up from our staff HR system, our student system, and then, you know, yeah, so it's
And
it's
the
a
other
beautiful thing.
the other thing I'll note is that we don't actually have a direct tie to their HRSI system. They provide us CSVs, and we're consuming that information. So with the help of Clackamas, we're kind of collaborating this, but it's easy. We can use CSVs or generic SQL queries if you don't want us to directly tie to the HRSIS as well. Well, and I'm sure a few of you probably have a data warehouse already. Let's just use that then. We really don't care. It'll work just fine. In additional diagrams, we have grade levels here, so we can break that all out, and apparently it doesn't have numbers on it. It should. And then we can do dynamic roles per grade level. This can actually be done on a single level as well, but in this case, for showing complexity, I have it on the multiple levels. Last diagram I have for you, we're talking about employees. So let's go back to the segregation of duties. So payroll person that else can write checks. Well, in this case, we can use employee types. This is actually, I think this is actually a RONS, if I remember right. So we can give guest teachers, classified, certificated, other, and administration. This is all be done by employee types that are in Skyward. So we're just filtering down on those types that are coming across and building those. Additionally, based on those types, we can then do the locations too. So maybe they have assignment at 3 different locations. Maybe they're a traveling teacher. Boom, that'll take care of it. They're certificated and they're at Jefferson, Lincoln, and Washington. Okay? So it just shows kind of the power of it, and this is barely touching the surface about it. Additionally, you'll see the little key underneath it. That means there's an entitlement on it. So there's only one entitlement on each one of those, and those are just 80 groups in this case. But that could be in a Google group. It could be a PowerShell script. It could be it can be a both. We don't really care. Any questions about that? Everyone see the power in that?
Oh, yeah.
It's super dynamic, and it can be done by you. Okay?
Are there any platforms, existing products that kind of do this, like app management platforms, security management platforms?
Well, unless you have something that's automatically, like, okay, we'll say Umra. If we had this and Umra running in the same place, Umra style automatically removes NADs, right? Same can go with scripts. So other platforms, not really. I mean, if you have another delegation platform, it's not going to conflict. We'll see the changes still because we're going to import that information in, but nothing that comes off the top of my head that would do that, cause an issue. That's not to say there isn't, right? There's always something. 99.9. So, all right. And quickly, we had one more thing. We're running out of time. Transactional logs. This is just an example of a chart. This one was monitoring file system, but we could drill down into it, go to a specific person, and see what's been done to them. Okay. Questions? Yeah.
Just the one with the, we use the old Umra.
Yep.
And on the IAM, are you able to slowly spin that up and eventually migrate that over?
Right. So that's what we're doing with the Organ Trail. We're gonna look at flipping the processes as we do it. This is always going to be an evolving process. You're going to get pieces in place, and especially with the access governance, you're going to start role mining, going through each department and realizing there's so much out there and so much security that's being given out to these users that is just ridiculous. So you're going to be adjusting that access governance and making those changes along the way. Just keep building additional diagrams. I do not suggest putting everything on one diagram because that's just going to be a headache and a half. So you want to create those sub-diagrams like I've kind of done already.
And I guess I'll kind of piggyback that, go back one slide.
Yes.
So this is just a condensed, I'm sorry, one more. There's a lot more going on here. He just took just the diagrams. So
Yeah.
these are what filters it down. That's how many users are in that. You can do a test run or an impact analysis. Like
Right.
if I were to make this change, who would it affect? And you can drill down on it. We're
Right.
really just getting really, really high level. We only had an hour, so there's so much more to what this can do. But I think that's a great question.
Right.
Yes, start off with the user type, or definitely migrate it slowly and then build onto this as we go. No?
Go ahead.
So from an onboarding standpoint, so this is great. Actually, this whole week we've been revamping our onboarding process and really trying to identify what the logistics are and then what are all the systematic things that we have to do manually and automatedly to make that function properly. Does this have any place for the hardware assignment aspect?
Potentially, if you have, you need something to support how it gets assigned, right?
Yeah, so like
it could be done by, it also could be done via a ticketing system too. We can kick off a ticket, so.
we have a ticketing system that does asset management,
Yeah.
and so that's how we're currently managing it. But that would be a separate element of the process.
Yep.
A way to tie it into this. So either I don't know, like
We are, so one of the things that are actually, our main office is doing is Top Desk. They're going to be integrating a full ticketing system into the IAM product for entitlements. So if you have a specific one, I don't know what do you use?
we use SolarWinds.
SolarWinds, okay, great product. So that's something we can look into. So what we suggest, if you want something, give us the full scenario, what it looks like, and we'll get it added. We want to build our entitlements out to be just ridiculous. We want to give you everything possible that we can. I know, that's the golden goose, right?
It's a great goal. I like it. Keep that goal.
So I understand that that's what you want, but that's not possible because everybody has different stuff. We have an API or somewhere
Right.
we can build on top of it.
Right. I'll do an API for this?
Yeah, I want to build my apps on top of that. I want to get to your data. I want to grab it. I
So-
want to do my stuff with it that's unique to my district.
So potentially, yeah, you can. So each piece of the product's a little bit different. So SSO, full API available right now. You can manage users, applications, and all that out of the box. IAM, we'll be adding, we don't currently leverage any APIs at the moment, but there's internal APIs that are being used, and they will be expanded upon. Additionally, what we'll be adding to the IAM product is LTI. We don't actually have a way to serve out LTI right now, but that's going to be added very soon.
So you'll have the ability to kick out flat files. You have access to all the data stored in the vault, and that's that schema. The delegation apps, all the apps that he showed are out of the box. I think 5 or 6 more coming out of the box.
And
I'm not sure what other customization
I have
you
one,
want. But
sorry,
that's-
and just in my head, I haven't used it very much. I know it works because I use it in a specific case. We actually do have a PowerShell library for executing specific processes and scripts. So it's limited, right? But there's not to say you couldn't go in the SQL database, which is pretty straightforward, and pull that data out as well. So that's all available. But if there's something specific, let me know. I'll be happy to dig into that.
On the LTI integration,
Yeah.
how do you guys define the word soon?
Consume?
Soon.
Soon? Oh, soon?
To me, that's next week. but-
Okay, so yeah, I'll elaborate on that. So we became contributing partners for OneRoster back like December, something like that. That was version 1. Just last week, 1.1 just came out. I finished our conformance certification for that 2 days ago. So we can do CSVs all day long. We can do their API consumption all day long. Who supports that? SIS vendors. They're the ones that support that. Skyward, PowerSchool, all stuff like that. Now, when it comes to being providers for that information, using the information that we have here and providing that out, I'd say by the end of the year we're going to have that available. That was my next goal, is to work with our home office and adding that to the product itself. It actually is really a piece of cake to do. That's where the API stuff's going to come into play. We need to build that library within the IAM platform to make that publicly available for everyone.
We actually structured the vault.
Right. Completely.
To kick out a flat file.
We can do that right now. We're gonna start canning those. So anything that's a CSV is gonna be standard format with it, settings that you can adjust what information you want, or filters, if you will. API will be focused on LTI because that really is the future. It's been around for a long time, and it will continue to be around. So.
We are sponsors of the
Platinum, not gold. So out in the golf course.
So tonight, stop by. We can definitely set up more time to discuss. If you're a current customer, I definitely encourage ask some questions. And we're really excited about where this is going. So if you want more around back to the stage of Gabe Douglas, Roy, or
I was like, do I say anything? No, I'll just. What am I gonna say?
he did a case study with us. They use UMRA and
And SSRPM.
Yeah.
SSRPM. So
Yeah.
got a case study talking about what we've done for them. So definitely come by and see us tonight and look us up. I'll be around.
Existing customers, if you don't have this version, let us know.
Yes.
We will upgrade you.
That's brand new, like 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, something, right? I mean, it's very, very new. The
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
Does the access governance come with IAM? Or
Yeah, it's all built into the same product. So really, IAM is a huge piece of it. SSO is really the only extra piece.
Now we just need to finish yours.
Hey, Mike, thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for stopping by. Yeah, no, it was, thank you. We'll make sure, we'll get all you stored away pretty quickly. So.
Oh, geez,
The heated power, sorry, so I connected with working, and then all of a sudden it started.
I need to take a shower because but I was a champion. Like we did last time. I was a champion.
I'm real excited.
There's so much, yeah. I saw your bus thing this morning. I was like, oh my gosh.
Jeremy can school this Oh, you gotta go that way? Actually, I should put some. No, you're fine, thank you.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, you're fine. Don't worry about it. I was trying to hurry and get out of your way. It all can be replaced. Yeah.
I look forward to start screwing around with it.
Yeah, we'll fix that.
Well, you should let one of these guys try and log on and see what they get, because my account, I mean, it's totally plausible that my accounts are totally funky. And
Oh, you know what?
are you working on my other account? Well, I don't know, I just know which one.
You have two, I know. I know you have two. Well, you're using the DA one. DAL, but whatever. However you say your last name.
D-E-I-L-E-R-S?
Yeah.
Not the Dave Eilers?
No. So that might be, just now thinking about it, it might be because you have two identities, or two AD accounts.
Not sure who to,
And you might be both associated as primary, which is a problem.
Oh yeah, that would be a problem.
So,
More
yeah.
things to check.
I'll be back in the office tomorrow, so I'll dig into that.
I would love to,
Yeah, we need to get you
I
guys.
was thinking a lot of stuff that we can solve with that.
So,
And I'm happy to digging in and doing all that work.
So one of the issues that like Sonoma had is that they don't have employments for some of their people yet. And the issue is that person actually doesn't start working until July 1st.
Technically.
And they need to be in there now, which is, I expected that because administrators, that's what happens.
Sure.
So what we're doing is we're taking the Skype profile with the building and check location.
You making a fake account out of it? Or
I'm
like
creating a fake, or not a fake,
proto account?
a profile employment, and using the hire and the termination.
Oh, okay.
And then also, which is actually the January or July date.
Yeah.
So also what we have to do is we're doing, this is a bit extreme, but 90-day early onboard.
So you can have like their supervisor prove that they get this.
We could do that, yeah. We could figure that out. But for general across the board, they have like 5 accounts.
Yeah.
Summer training and all that. So
I was thinking we turned off the shared folders for everyone, but let people wouldn't have that. Like almost none of the students would have it. You could just tell the students we're deleting all the pre-existing data.
The one I showed.
But with staff too. There's no reason for staff to have them if they're never going to use it.
Just to let you know, the one I showed was the LOD one. The IAM one looks very similar, but it's whatever.
Well, I think
a lot of our staff that's very worried those will go away.
were there.
They're the ones that are saving, ClarisWorks documents still. They don't want them to go away because they use them once every 3 years. So,
Well,
Here is your designated USB.
if you guys come up with like some other scenarios, let me know. This is what I want. I want to build like cases on this and then solutions.
Yeah.
Because there's so many out there that this will solve that Humor wouldn't. So.
Yeah, I am not a huge fan of UMRA, not because it's
Well, it's
a
not
scripting
enough.
thing,
It's
but
not
it's
enough.
not an interface that allows me to interact with it, just because I'd rather better off dealing with the XML file and see a little interface is how I feel about it. That's because I'm a techie person, not a
No, I have no trust in yours. We have a lot of rules.
Anyways, that's it. we're only gonna do it for elementary and ninth grade, we're not gonna have them, we gotta keep it for, I'm like, okay, well, you know, I look at this, I gotta write that. To be honest, you know, I like it, but it's working for me.
Or we could sit right next to Bob and torment him. Especially with the morning.
So here's the problem. This isn't a session per se. It's more roundtable discussion. I don't know if we want to separate into move the seating around. Can't leave a discussion of 50 people.
Probably better to cut them into smaller groups and then have the discussion among those groups.
Because normally this is just dead time, but I figured.
We were trying to figure out what the heck was going on because there was no description about it. One, so Cindy's in the leadership one.
I know, I saw you up there and I was already sitting.
Was I already sitting or you were?
I was already sitting.
Oh, I didn't even look at that.
So maybe
The only information we have is we have a leadership track, a technical track, and an instructional track.
That was. Well, I do enjoy the technical side.
What else is involved? I have no idea. We'll wing it.
I like it. It is. That was the one Yeah, I know. What we use we use Umra, but we have some of those components. I love these swivel hands that are following people around. I've never seen them actually used. I know, but I've never actually seen them used. I set them up. I've never did. Yeah. I had to leave my phone at the barn charging because it's so low from using the GPS and driving that highway. He like pulled up my battery usage and it's like 50% battery usage. It's like, oh, on the way back, I'll just leave it plugged into the lighter. Oh, on the way back, I don't need a GPS. I know how to go home. Yes, we go out the way we can and we follow it down, follow the signs. I don't understand.
Go that way until you hit 205 and then go south until you hit Salem.
I'm just giving him a hard time. I know how to. So you're going to Vegas immediately after this, right?
Yeah.
When are you back?
Thursday night, so Friday in the office.
So
if I'm not dead by then, I might be dead by then.
You are going to have to move over to office. So 4 days.
You're fired if you try to go back.
Why?
Because it's the same thing. Everyone wants the same thing they put you.
What do you have, iPhone?
Yeah, I didn't hire you.
No, I don't know. So there's a little zipper. I don't know. My wife and I are great folks. We don't care much for. I could, if you have a pen, you could cross one line now and write grades on it. No, those are the blue. So the fishbowl is you put your business card. So where's the marker for this guy? The raffle ones.
Right there.
So I'm gonna put one of these.
Oh, yep, I'm the M.
If that's what he ends up doing.
He's not still recording, is he? Is he?